What up? So tomorrow's the podcast, and I'm talking about 3 ways to know. I guess I should get in line. 3 ways to know that he's just not that into you. And people ask me all the time, where do I get my ideas from? And I want to let y'all know these are my real experiences. Like, I go through this shit and I'm thinking about it in real time. And so when you hear me talk about dating, relationships, entanglements, life lessons, cum dumps, glory hole, all this stuff. Like, this is stuff that I'm thinking through and processing. Now, I might not have been, at a glory hole, but I'm on this journey, the ups and downs along the journey to happiness. I'm on the journey just like y'all are. This one came because I saw Case Kenny's YouTube channel. Let me show you. I just realized that I'm in my drawers on the bottom half of this, but he has his book. Can y'all see that? It says single is your superpower. And I read the book a while ago. I put a link to the book and his YouTube channel in the description. But he says, we've grown to assume that two-way love doesn't exist immediately in a relationship. We think that disinterest, return feelings, lack of enthusiasm is a normal part of a relationship. That is my story. Like, that's my life. That those two sentences. I always thought that I didn't deserve the super fine dude like John that I'll talk about tomorrow on the podcast. Always thought that I didn't deserve someone who likes me and thinks I'm dope and is excited to see me. Like, I've always thought that those were, rom-com shit. And so I end up talking about my experience with this one person named John tomorrow. Now, we had sex, we went on a couple dates, but every time it was his turn to help move us forward, there was an excuse. And for a long time, until I read that book and, I discovered this particular YouTuber, that I felt like that's just the way things were. I've always been with people who I always felt like I gave more in our relationship than the other person. I never felt fulfilled. And so unfulfillment became, my baseline. I had to learn that that John and I weren't going anywhere. I got used to him not putting in effort, and I had to realize that I deserve effort. And so I sent John a text message. There's a long context here, but I'll read you the message. This is my piece of it. I won't tell you what he said, but part of it said, through all these hookups, dates, and failed dates, and flirting to ambiguous ends, I've been patient because I think you're special. But I'm in an us season, as in me and my guy, whomever he may be, and my patience will only go so far before it runs out. My vulnerable moment is that 5 failed dates feels like you want to flirt and talk about possible future with me without the responsibility of actually moving toward that future. I'm patient to no end, but I'm not foolish. So as I said with our last attempted date, I'll be patient until you're available, but I won't be waiting for it. I hope God, my patience, and your actions align at some point, though. It took a lot of courage for me to be able to be like, bruh, this ain't the tea. This ain't given what it's supposed to have been given. And I had to learn that if he's not interested on a level that turns into action, that's okay. It was a tough lesson to learn, but that's kind of the backstory of what's going to happen tomorrow on Dear Black Gay Men Podcast. A Dear Black Gay Men Podcast is new every Wednesday. Listen on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And I will see you next week. Bye.